Welcome back to Area DMG. I'm your host, Philip Wesley, the Mile High Mouth. For today's episode of Suki Nihon for Area DMG, we're looking at Steven Universe, episode 15 of season 4, The New Crystal Gems! Brought to you by Pink Diamond's Insidious Human Zoo. Anyways, so the episode starts with Steven and Greg finally returning to Earth. They forget about the rubies. They forgot about them. They left them. They did not pick them up. We need to start a hashtag, no rubies left behind. Anywho, they arrive and Connie greets them and they ask Connie what she's been up to since they've been gone, after she, of course, comments a little bit about Steven's peril. Anywho, Connie lets them know that, well, after she got that phone call with Steven, she goes and to the temple, and there meets up with Lapis and Peridot. Lapis doesn't remember who she is. In fact, she's like, "But you tried to drown me!" And Lapis is all like, "I've tried to drown so many people." Lapis is a monster. Lapis is the secret blue diamond. No, I'm not one of those types of channels. Anywho, she reintroduces herself to Lapis and Peridot and Pumpkin. And they try and figure out what they're going to do. So Peridot has this idea that, well, since they're going to be replacing the crystal gems for a little while, they should, quote, be the crystal gems, end quote. So they decide to dress up as different characters from the, crystal gems. Connie decides to be Steven, which means she's wearing Steven's clothing. And Peridot decides to be the Garnet. And therefore, she gets like these little sunglasses, and it's pretty funny. Lapis, they decide she'll be Amethyst, and Pumpkin gets to be Pearl, complete with a little party hat for a nose. So, yeah, that's kind of amusing. It's like fan art. Really, I swear I've seen fan art like this. So, yeah, is the Steven Universe crew, the crew, Crewniverse, or whatever you want to call them, are they stealing fan art? Scandal! No, not really. No scandal here. But pretty much what happens is they comb Beach City. Nothing's really happening. So they're not really doing anything until a car pulls up to the car wash. It's Mayor Dewey's son, and he needs the car washed. So Peridot uses her metal ability to lift the car up, and Lapis uses her water controlling ability to wash the car off, and it's great. And they're like, yeah, job well done, we did it, etc., etc. And then more people show up at the car wash because it's kind of cool that they wash the car that way. It's neat. And this causes Peridot and Lapis to argue over who's in charge, etc., etc. It causes an argument, and they end up breaking the sign at the car wash. So then Connie gets kind of a little upset at them. Actually, first she tries to give like a Steven-like speech, and it's like, but you love me, so therefore you must love each other, which is something I think divorced kids tell themselves about their parents. And that's wrong. That's really wrong. The whole idea of like, well, because you love me, therefore you must get along. It doesn't actually work in the real world, and it doesn't work here. And Connie realizes, yeah, this is kind of, maybe Steven would say it different. No, Steven would say it the same exact way, and it would still not be effective. But it works on the other crystal gems because they may be emotionally less mature than Steven is. So anywho, this causes a little rift between the team. They're upset, etc., etc. They're back at the temple. Connie gets fed up about it and snaps at them. Pretty much what she says is they're acting like a bunch of super powerful toddlers. They're like, you're acting younger than I am. And then Lapis is like, I'm thousands of years old. And Connie's like, well, act like it. But there's a little bit of an issue with that, I think. Pretty much what I do in a lot of these videos is point out some of the issues with the Steven Universe philosophy. It's not healthy, some of it. But yeah, and pretty much what happens is that she says, you're thousands of years old, you should act like you're older, etc., etc. And they get a little annoyed by that. And then eventually they figure out that, maybe they shouldn't be the crystal gems. They should be themselves and handle things themselves. So they go and they fix things, make things right, and make a new sign for the car wash. Going back to my point earlier about age, age does not signify maturity. Your physical age is different than your emotional or mental age. That's just the way it is. There are people who are in their like 70s or whatnot, and they're definitely like, they act like they're 14. There are people who are in their, I mean, I was one of those people who, around like age 8 or 9, I was finishing off books and like reading, because I discovered caffeine, and did a lot of reading when I was younger. Before I was 12, I read through the entirety of the Bible, all 66 books of the Old and New Testament, plus the Apocrypha, twice. I would debate it with people in my local church, and I loved it when people would call. This is during the 80s when Mormons and Latter-day Saints would call you. I loved it because I'd be like, oh, wait a second, no, what you're quoting here is wrong. Here's this is my translation here. This is what my concordance says. I was a weird kid growing up. But you know what? The more you read, the more you grow. Well, actually, it also kind of depends on what you read. If all you read is like just stuff that you agree with, you're not going to get very far in life. You need to diversify your opinions. Part of emotional maturity is diversifying your input, diversifying your sources. We'll probably get into something like that in later things. But yeah, age does not necessarily facilitate maturity. Okay? It's just the way it is. Just because you're over an arbitrary age does not mean that you are mature enough to understand a decision or a choice or a decision or an action that you're making. Okay? Age does not equal maturity. Maturity does not equal age. And the fact that Connie assumes that is a little sad. But she does chew them out over this. You know, it's like, stop trying to act like this, get serious for a bit. And then they fix a sign, they get something done. And then they present the new sign, it looks great, Greg likes it, and that's pretty much the end of that episode. I thought it was pretty good for some of the visual gags, and I liked seeing Lapis, Peridot, Connie, and the pumpkin. The pumpkin? Pumpkin spice? I don't know what I want to call that thing. I don't know. It's a Stephen pumpkin, so a stumpkin? I don't know. I don't know what to call the pumpkin, but I like it. I would like to see an entire episode of just Lion and the Pumpkin. Pumpkin and the Lion. Just hanging around, doing pumpkin and lion things. That would be the best episode of Steven Universe, bar none, because none of the normal cast would be in it. I kid. But yeah, I thought it was pretty good. Let me know in the comments below what you thought of this episode. Hit that thumbs up if you haven't already. Make sure you like this. Make sure you share this. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that little bell so you get notified whenever we have a new episode. And until the next episode comes out, you are now caught up.